This time I'm going to talk about full manual mode. Every digital SLR will have a dedicated manual mode where you control the shutter speed, the aperture, and the ISO. The full control, in this case, this is a K5. I can control the aperture with the rear dial, and then the shutter speed with the front dial. If I hold the ISO button down, I can control that with the rear dial. So you can see this changes as I change the settings on the camera. That's the camera's built-in meter showing if the photo is underexposed or overexposed. So you can see it's underexposed. Now if I increase the aperture to maximum and then I decrease the shutter speed, see it's going all the way to equalization. So now the camera says that I have a pretty good overall exposure. So I can take a photo. It should turn out pretty nicely. You can see the meter here, but you can also, of course, see it inside the viewfinder. There is a rule, it's called the Sunny 16 rule. It can be used in any conditions, but it's called the Sunny 16 rule because it implies that outside in the normal daylight, if you use f16 as your aperture, so let's do that. So you'd use f16 as your aperture outside, then you use the reciprocal of your ISO as your shutter speed. So if I were using 800 ISO, I would use 1/800th approximately of a second shutter speed. Realistically, if you're in the daylight, you'd use a low ISO and then either 1/100th or 125th of a second shutter speed. Now that should give you in daylight a pretty reasonable exposure. Now in other conditions, what you would do, you would leave that reciprocal. If it's not bright outside, it's kind of overcast, you would take your aperture and widen it. And then if you're in shade, you would continue to do that. So in a shady situation, you might use f4 instead of f16. It's a pretty nice little rule to consider with manual mode.